microphone and bitch about this. Okie dokie. I have a well-crafted speech here I'm going to read. Bore you for 5 minutes. But there was something that occurred to me as I was greeting everyone and hanging out with everyone tonight. There was a logic in my head that was very obvious, but I realized that it wasn't apparent to you guys why these various people were invited here tonight. There were 600 employees at Sailors Industries, and I invited 50 people. And so I want to explain what my rationale was behind this group here. And the rationale was that I wanted to invite people that I had very strong relationships with, and a lot of people here I've known for a very long time. So how long our relationship was, how much time we spent together on the factory floor all those years, that had a big influence on my decision. And also, there are people that I didn't work with as long, but I thought they built value in the company. And it could be anything from just being, a happy voice on the reception board to just being a smiley face out in the factory. In some way, I thought you made a bigger difference than the rest of the employees, just in the way that you did your job, and that's why you guys are here, for those collective reasons. So I hope you're having a good time. I know I am. I'd like to make this short speech to express my gratitude and appreciation for all your years of service and incredible contribution to Sanders Industries. I've never been known for being a great public speaker, so please excuse me for reading my notes rather than giving them having them memorized like a skillful politician. I did a calculation to add up all the years that all of us have worked together, and believe it or not, the number is approaching 1,000 years. So that does put things into perspective as to what a special group this is. There are a few people I'd like to thank for putting up with me for my entire 30-year career. Bridget Fung, Arda Costa, and the infamous Salamanca brothers, Alberto and Sylvester. Another two individuals who deserve honorable mention for joining the company very shortly after I started working there are Lee Munsell and Eddie Ramirez. And there are two people who could not be with us tonight that I'd like to say a few words about. The first is Arda Costa. I'd like him to know my thoughts are with him and that I wish him a speedy recovery. Art was actually my boss when I was 19 years old and first worked at Rubbercraft during the summer. The second is Rosa Ivanick. Rosa started working with me in 1986, and she was effectively my corporate mother. At 22 years old, I definitely needed her maturity, wisdom, and loyalty, which she generously provided. I'd also like to mention a couple of people who are no longer with us that spent many years working with me and whose faces I could always count on to have a smile when I saw them in the factory. And it was Josie Olivares and Margaret Reyes. In 1987, after I had purchased Rubbercraft from my father, who I would also like to thank for giving me the opportunity to make all this possible, I was in desperate need of a sales manager to get our sales effort on track. And after a job interview in a sushi restaurant where copious amounts of sake were consumed, so much so that this guy wasn't even sure if I'd hired him, he agreed to come on board. Since then, Lee Munsell has been a brilliant salesman and in many ways like a brother to me. We've weathered a lot of changes together, and I'm very proud that I can still count him as a dear friend 30 years later. Another guy I'd like to thank and recognize for the value of his contribution is the person I've worked with the most closely these past 12 years, is Rick Ginsburg. He's been a tremendous asset to me in helping me build Sanders Industries to the point that it was when he sold the business. And last but not least, and although we only worked together for a few years, he made a huge impact on the company and was one of the primary reasons I was able to accomplish successfully selling the company. I'm speaking about Larry O'Toole. So thank you, Rosa, Lee, Rick, and Larry, for being a part of my extended family. Your loyalty, your hard work, your care, and your contribution. By now, the Alloy gang is probably starting to think they're going to be completely left out of this speech. I couldn't let this night go by without also saying thanks to all the Alloy folks who joined us today, and especially the captain of the ship, Aurelio Vega. Thank you guys for weathering a lot of challenges under my ownership and within the die casting industry. And I'm very glad to hear the company is thriving and prospering under the new ownership. Before the sale of Alloy, Sanders Industries had 600 employees. Tonight I have only time to recognize a few of those people, but many of those 600 employees, including the 50 who are here tonight, also work very long and hard for the company and are equally deserving of mention. I chose to recognize the people I did as examples of many great people I had the opportunity to work with over my 30-year career with Sanders Industries. So with that, I will say one final thank you to all of you for your immeasurable value to the company and me personally.